Well, it looks like Nagi and Sachi's trip to Atami is over, and as enjoyable and realizing as it was, the show must go on. What's going on, guys? How's it hanging? It's Eric Blue Jay here, and let's check back in with A Couple of Cuckoos manga. So let's get into the video, but before we do, if you are new here, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And like the video to push us on out into that YouTube algorithm. So it seems that a sports festival is about to surface at Megirogawa Academy. And this will be very interesting to see because A Couple of Cuckoos has never shown us a sports festival of any kind until now. Sports festival chapters and episodes are a trademark in slice of life genres, like The Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten, Classroom of the Elite, or even Kaguya-sama Love is War, which I personally find as holding the greatest sports festival arc of all because god damn, that was peak. So it's nice to see A Couple of Cuckoos get its fit, and let's see if it can hold up to other titles. So, upon Nagi's first day back at school post-Atami vacation, he notices a bunch of students setting up in belief there may be some event going on. Within that crowd of students is Hiro, who notices Nagi walking by and decides to have a quick chat. She asks if he's about to head off to study, and that herself and Erika have plans to study soon. So the three get together to study, as Nagi and Erika are surprised to hear about the sports festival, and what Hiro tells them about this festival really opened my eyes. She mentions since they're all third years, this sports festival will be their last one. This really gave me that realization that their high school days will end and they'll eventually graduate. After graduation, Nagi must make a serious decision about work and post-education, but not only that, his future too, which ties directly into the future of the series, because after graduation, he's going to have to pick one of these girls to marry. But anyway, we learn that Erika has never experienced a sports festival before, on account that she had transferred to Megirogawa Academy right after the previous year's sports festival, and Nagi just has no interest in sports festivals whatsoever. Hiro tells the two about the planned events since she's part of the planning committee and how hyped the student body gets around this time of year, since this is the only event of its kind around here, as Megirogawa Academy is an elite prep school that focuses on the studies. Erika seems impressed and excited to learn more. Nagi, however, as usual, is the complete opposite of her and insists to stay out of the festival as he's never participated in them before and has no interest. So after that, we see what the dance club is up to. I haven't covered this before, but just in case you didn't know, Sachi is part of Megirogawa's dance club. But anyway, we learn that the dance club will once more be performing their yearly cheering competition. The club president tries to confirm that the members have memorized their formations. Sachi, unfortunately, has no clue what she's talking about. So to explain, Sachi was issued a training video in regards to cheering formations. In typical Sachi fashion, she's neglected the training video in favor of a short vacation with her older brother. The club leader asks a new character, Shinjo, to catch up Sachi on what she's missed. So, with Shinjo trying to explain the formations to Sachi, he gets distracted by her radiant beauty and shoots his shot to ask if she's free after practice. So, before we move on to the next scene, I just wanted to bring this up. Is it just me? Or does this club leader character and this Shinjo character here remind you of anyone? Yeah, don't they just have an uncanny resemblance to Shorichiro and Ritsuko Amano? It really makes me wonder, what was the reasoning behind designing these characters as such and have them part of the same club? What is the secrets behind these two new characters? Back home, Sachi tells everyone that a second year has asked her out. With Erika very shocked over this news, Nagi appears very suspicious and protective. Looks like it's Matsuda all over again. Sachi tells them of the details of Shinjo's confession. Shinjo thought there was someone else she liked, but Sachi was in a nerve-wracking bind. She could either tell Shinjo the truth or a white lie. Or the truth. But anyway, she decided to go with the white lie route and say her big brother says she's not allowed to date. Shinjo believes that Sachi's saying if he gets an okay from her older brother, then it'd be okay for them to date. Which that is the farthest thing. She was just trying to shake Shinjo off. But in any case, Nagi realizes that this Shinjo guy will be looking for him, and he'll just have to play along with this white lie and tell the guy he's still obstinate of allowing his little sister to date. The next day, Nagi gets some info about Shinjo from Hiro, as Shinjo is on the planning committee as well. Goddamn, that sentence was something else. He's known as the handsome ace of the dance club, and she believes he's a formidable opponent. While thinking about an encounter with him all day, Shinjo hasn't shown up. It was until the following day where final period was over, and Shinjo has decided to pay Nagi a surprise visit, making a big scene in class by his sheer presence. He asks Nagi if he has some time to talk, in belief that he's going to ask him about dating his sister. Shinjo rather challenges him to compete with each other at the sports festival. Confused at what he means by competing with a guy he seemingly doesn't know, Shinjo explains the stakes. If he wins at the sports festival, then he wants Nagi to allow him to date Sachi. Even with such a confident challenger, Nagi refuses Shinjo's opposition, standing his ground, stating ever since he was born, he's put all of his stat points into studying. And would Shinjo really feel satisfied beating a guy like that? Shinjo eventually breaks down, agreeing that that would be quite unfair, as ever since he was born, he's put all of his stat points into athletics, as he asks Nagi to wait until he comes up with another challenge the two can face. Everyone is preparing for the sports festival, everyone except for Nagi. Hanging out at his parents' house, Yohei and Namie are excited to catch Sachi's cheer routine, and asks out of curiosity if Nagi will be sitting out again this year, to which he obviously is. Sachi tells Nagi she wants him to come watch her dance, where Nagi lashes out, saying he's not going, which really upsets Sachi as she storms out equally as angry as him. But Nagi has a sudden realization. What is he so angry about? So in order to output this anger and discover what he's even angry about, Nagi takes the next step forward, because upon the day of the sports festival, he gears up and challenges Shinjo on the sports festival, accepting his challenge, and therefore the stakes are set for Sachi's fate. The student body is separated into Team Red and Team White, with Nagi, Erika, and Hiro part of Team White, and Shinjo and Sachi part of Team Red. We find out that Nagi and Shinjo will be competing for the most wins out of these three events: the scavenger hunt race, three-legged race, and finally, the obstacle course. So whoever wins at least 2 of these 3 events will win the challenge. First up is the scavenger hunt race, with 2 members from both teams separately competing, featuring Nagi and Erika representing Team White and Shinjo and another member representing Team Red. Each contestant grabs a random envelope containing an item they must find. The Team Red girl is required to locate a red water bottle, while Erika is tasked with finding a boy she likes. Nagi is tasked with finding someone with a scab, and Shinjo must locate someone with dimples. However, Nagi and Shinjo's cards are written in difficult kanji, and as a genius, Nagi had no struggle reading it. Shinjo, on the other hand, had immense difficulties even figuring out what his card said. So Nagi calculated the possible students to have a scab and drew course towards members of various sports clubs. He then surmised the most likely sports to cause a minor injury like a scab, as soccer, track and field, volleyball, and basketball. The only issue is, he has no idea who amongst the crowd could possibly be part of what clubs. During this dilemma, Erika is having one of her own, as all of the boys are eagerly awaiting to see Erika's next action. Erika instantly thinks of Nagi, but she figures that might be against the rules to pull a fellow competitor from the search, so she tries to find someone else she likes, pulling her biological father, Yohei, past the finish line, finishing second place right after the Team Red girl. As the spectating boys question among themselves why she's pulled Umino's dad. Tension is getting high. This could be anyone's game, as another Team Red girl with dimples calls out to Shinjo, asking him to take her across the finish line, which Shinjo does, not breaking any rules as she didn't technically mention what his card even said, which leaves Nagi in the dust, coming in dead last on their first event. As we know, the next event is the three-legged race, as Nagi struggles to find a teammate. During this, Erika makes a fun little callback to episode 16/Foul 36. While talking about Nagi's athleticism, this is referencing how whenever Nagi's won something, Sachi's strive to win the same contest the very next year, as this has happened on multiple occasions in their past, whether a swimming competition, a reading competition, or a marathon, which this was honestly a great foreshadow into Sachi's acceptance into Megidogawa Academy. But back on track, when all hope is lost, Nagi can't find a single guy to team up with him. That is, until Nagi's right-hand man, Shion, who also happens to be on Team White, taps in, reassuring Nagi he has his back. And with that, Shinjo teams up with a member of the basketball club for the three-legged race. And with the race about to begin, it's a race that Nagi absolutely cannot lose, because if he does, it's all over for Sachi. The race begins and Nagi and Shion begin unsynchronized. This gives Shinjo a great distance of a head start. The three-legged race has two obstacles on course, known as danger zones, with the first zone in the form of a set of stairs. And Nagi and Shion continuing to be unsynchronized, they falter once more, having Shion believe they were going to take each step, as Nagi tells him taking one step at a time is inefficient. Beep boop beep Mother Hubbard. Nagi and Shion are going to need a miracle to catch up to Team Red, where the guys absolutely bulldoze the inner lane, stealing the lead for Team White. Before the race, Nagi and Shion have been strategizing tactics, but as we could tell from the actual race, they had trouble putting the tactics into place. That, and there was no time to even train. This is where the guys throw all of that out of the window, with realization of Shion's advance in gym class, and Nagi's demeanor when they've played video games together for the first time, which is in reference to Foul 219, when Nagi and Shion played video games on their final night of the Kyoto field trip. Shion realizes in the past whenever Nagi was able to give instructions, he'd be able to match them. That's how their bond works, thusly ensuring momentum, thrusting them forward in the race. Coming up on the final danger zone, we meet a blockade with breakthrough panels and a true or false question. This is very likely a reference to a Japanese game show, as Shion exclaims in fear he's seen this on TV before. Both teams are given separate true or false questions. Team White's question asks, Megidogawa Academy's student body has more boys than girls, as Team Red catches up and sees their question. In Megidogawa Academy's northern stairwell, there are a total of 120 stairs between the first and fifth floors, with both teams seemingly at a standstill contemplating the potential answer. Nagi wants Shion to go with his gut on deciding the answer to their question, which Shion confidently says their question is false because he can tell there's more girls in their school. With Team White ensuring victory, the two jump through the big X, but to their great surprise, they find themselves fallen face first into a pool of mud, where Yonezawa and Takahashi announce the correct answer to that was true, because there are actually 7 more boys than there are girls, with Nagi greatly surprised at Shion being wrong on this one. He's always believed it simply looked like there were more girls. And with that, Team Red progresses forward, answering false, because the basketball club guy knows the answer isn't a total of 120, but a total of 122 stairs, because he runs up and down those very steps during practice. So now all Team Red has to do is a 50-meter dash to ensure victory. With Shinjo glowing with confidence, Nagi basically becomes a one-man bulldozer, dragging Shion along, and with the two covered in mud, Team White has actually won the three-legged race. This is good because if Nagi had lost this, it'd all be over, but now that Nagi and Shinjo are 1-1, this means whoever comes on top during the final event will win Sachi. With the lunch break about to begin, the dance club will be performing their cheering contest between their Team Red and White, as Sachi is forced to cheer for Team Red. It's nice to see Sachi getting the momentum down pat with the other cheerleaders. She even gives off a wink, which sends the boys into a frenzy, arguing over who she's winked at. But we all know the guy she really winked at was Nagi. During lunch break, we find that Shion has sprained his right foot. And you know what? I don't blame him. As the nurse is putting a cold compress on it, Nagi takes this opportunity to thank Shion for his help and gives him a gift to express his gratitude in the form of an Umi no Tai lunch. This may be a huge turning point in Nagi and Shion's friendship, where going forward, we may see Nagi look at Shion as a true blue friend. With lunch break officially over, Sports Festival Committee Chair Hiro Sagawa goes on stage to hype up the next event, a customary obstacle course. She reveals to the student body that her committee has fiercely negotiated with the school to allow them to increase the budget for the sports festival this year. The committee has put most of their money towards a specially built obstacle course placed in field number 2. This was held with great surprise and shock, revealing this grand structure to the student body, as Hiro presents Megirogawa Academy's famous obstacle course. This also marks the final competition event between Nagi and Shinjo as they gear up. Whoever comes on top during the obstacle course will win Sachi's fate, as the fight between studying versus athleticism continues, with fate landing on an athleticism-hailed course to break the tie. Can Nagi manage to prevail? So up here we have the guys getting ready to face the obstacle course, as we see that Nagi is lost in thought, while Shinjo scoffs Nagi in his mind. It is told that the obstacle course consists of 4 obstacles, with some even officially used in the Olympics. The race begins with a set of monkey bars. Shinjo manages to clear it with ease, where he turned around to see Nagi struggling and fallen down, having to start over at the beginning. Shinjo reaches the next obstacle in the form of quad steps. Shinjo turns around again, clearly seeing that Nagi won't be catching up anytime soon, so he takes this one at a steady pace, but it looks like that Nagi is getting the hang of it. No pun intended. He calculates that projecting the center of gravity in your favor to reach the further away bars, and upon completing the monkey bars, Shinjo has just completed the quad steps. Shinjo looks back at Nagi once more, noticing how tired he looks. It looks like Shinjo has a good chance to win here. That is, until he reaches the third obstacle, which is a 50-centimeter high net that you must crawl under. After Shinjo completes the crawl, he notices Nagi has been faltering the quad steps for several minutes. Although, a couple of failed attempts made it click in Nagi's brain. He had figured out the secret to clearing the quad steps and hops through the challenge with vigor. Shinjo has just met the final obstacle standing in his way to victory, a towering finish wall. He stares it down, trying to figure out how this is even possible to reach. I mean, look how tall it is. In his weight, Nagi charges through the 50-centimeter high net with ease and reaches the final challenge with Shinjo. So the boys are neck and neck. Whoever can climb this unclimbable wall first will win. Shinjo takes his first attempt using sheer force, but he slides down almost immediately. And if only one of them could just manage to get their hand up there, and whoever that may be will secure victory. But Nagi is here now, and he's looking in rough shape with sweat and scuff marks in result of having to restart several times. Nagi takes the first attempt to run the wall, but much like Shinjo, he slid right down. With Nagi lost in thought, seemingly defeated at this final challenge, Shinjo capitalizes on that moment and goes for another attempt. But unexpectedly, the student body began cheering for the underdog, Nagi Umino, to where he immediately got up and made a mad dash for a second attempt. And in Shinjo's mind right now, at the 11th hour, he's wondering since when did the crowd start cheering for Nagi? But he can deal with that, right? The straw that broke the camel's back was Sachi shouting out, "Big brother, you can do it," which absolutely shocked Shinjo, distracting him as he slides back down. And just as you know it, Nagi's hand has indeed touched the top of the wall as he climbs up and exclaims, "In victory." And god damn, man, this moment was so amazing. Right when everything was seemingly out of luck for Nagi, he makes his comeback as strong as can be. So it appears that Nagi has won the challenge against Shinjo, winning Sachi back. It is here where, if you've been paying attention to the more minor and psychological details, you'd notice that Nagi played this challenge very smart, because there was a lot on the line. He banked on Shinjo's observation of his performances not feeling threatened at all, and with that, Nagi threw everything out of his mind. The stakes, the competition, Shinjo, Sachi, everything. He only stared down the obstacle course to look at it as a challenge to overcome. And if you've noticed, you could count several times where Shinjo became distracted, looking behind him to see the competition. That was his greatest downfall, because here we had Nagi not even paying any attention to Shinjo, acting as if he isn't even there. And you can actually notice that not once during this obstacle course, not once did Nagi ever look at or acknowledge Shinjo. But anyway, Shinjo announces his loss as he reflects on his downfall that I had mentioned above, to where Nagi says fighting against Shinjo was really fun. The very last event of the sports festival is a relay race where Erika is anchor, meaning she'll be the final member of Team White running with the relay baton and is responsible for crossing the finish line. In the end, Erika does secure Team White's final victory as we see the scoreboard with Team Red with 568 points, and Team White dominating with 602 points. That very night, Yohei and Namie host a celebration party at Umino Tai, inviting Hiro, Shion, Shinjo, Yonezawa, and Takahashi. While the party was ongoing, Nagi and Sachi took it upon themselves to clean some more dishes for their guests to use. A conversation breaks out while they are washing the dishes, as Nagi tells her that her dance was amazing. She must have practiced hard for that. Sachi notices Nagi's efforts and tells him she thinks he was so absorbed in the competition that he forgot all about her, which I'ma say, she isn't completely right, but isn't completely wrong, but she does think he was really cool. Shinjo peeks in asking to speak with Sachi. He wants to talk to Sachi about his confession, but Nagi interrupts him, telling him a promise is a promise, so he should be a man and back off from the girl. It is here where Shinjo announces that he may have lost to Nagi, but he won't give up, which Nagi feels offended by his words having no value. It'll be hard for Nagi to trust him after that. However, after seeing how hard Nagi worked just to win Sachi, Sachi seemingly uses this moment to keep herself in Nagi's mind. She says she's fine with Shinjo continuing to gun for her, saying he'll have to challenge her big brother again someday. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the entire A Couple of Cuckoos Sports Festival explained. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, just consider leaving me a subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, tell me what you thought. What are your thoughts on finally seeing a sports festival in A Couple of Cuckoos? And do you think it holds up with other sports festivals you've seen in other anime and manga? In my opinion, I certainly do think it holds up, especially with their brand and competition going on between the two. You can follow me at TLBBlueJay on X, or at Eric_BlueJay on Instagram if you'd like to see my anime fan art drawings that includes A Couple of Cuckoos fan art. If you'd like to see my full breakdown of A Couple of Cuckoos Season 2 information, click the video you're currently seeing on your screen.